so language arts, basically, reading, kind of writing and oral communication are the main areas, I suppose. So under reading, there's areas just like first developing a love of books and an interest in books. So you see kids picking up, pretending to read books. And then within that, you also develop print awareness ideas, whether they know the front cover from the back cover. They're tracking kind of left to right. Then it progresses even into knowing the difference between a word and a sentence, or a letter and a word. And then you break down to even more specific skills like phonological awareness, ability to rhyme, segment words, blend words. Usually that just starts orally. We're saying like clapping the syllables in their name, for instance, counting the syllables in their name. Children also, reading kind of begins with environmental print. So kids are recognizing Target and McDonald's, and then also if you have certain things labeled in your environment, whether it's a desk or a chair, you see that sometimes in classrooms too, and kids may start to pick up those words, but certainly it's usually their names and their friends' names that will be the first. And then moving into phonics, which is, being able to associate a particular sound with a letter, starting to sound out words, which also then ties into writing. I did all the reading and writing. Oh, and different genres, yes, I'm making sure that was something we discussed, is that oftentimes, a lot of times it's like storybooks in preschool, but making sure you also have the nonfiction text as well. And develop comprehension through comparing and contrasting, talking about similarities and differences, especially with nonfiction text. That's a great avenue for that. And then oral communication and writing. So overall, the goal for oral communication is to increase the length of their responses and the complexity and the appropriateness, kind of the pragmatics. Are they using the right words in the right situation? Can they carry on a reciprocal conversation? And then when your oral language is developed, it's evident in the writing or dictation. If you're having your children create pictures and then tell you about it, that's a great sample of their oral language ability. And in writing, just from the physical standpoint, it begins with just like you were saying, fine motor skills, being comfortable with the writing tools, and then seeing a progression from like the scribbles to letter-like shapes to actual letters. And ability to conveying your knowledge, their knowledge.
Good.
So these are the math goals. We summarized it because there's a lot of stuff in there. So understanding the multiple purposes for numbers, so that could be measuring, counting, all those different things that fall under math. Understanding and recognizing the numbers in the visual form, not just the written numerical form, so like objects and making those kind of connections as well in the number sense. Understanding the value of numbers, so they do have like a meaning. It's not just something you see on a paper, there's meaning behind the numbers as well. And being able to apply these numbers in multiple ways, so whether you're comparing or you're counting or all those different ways. And then recognizing math in everyday life, language, and communication, whether it's like matching napkins to the plates or other different ways that they're implementing in their lives.
Okay.
So for science, you really want kids just to develop a curiosity about their world and then express that curiosity. So asking questions about things, and then after you ask questions, explaining, even if the explanation is totally off the cuff, just getting them to explain and think about their own ideas. After that, you want to really have kids start sorting into categories. Their big push in the standard is living versus non-living, so identifying that a cat is alive and a desk is not. Showing understanding of change, and they use the example of seasons, drawing a tree in all 4 seasons. And then using those categories with respecting your environment, yourself, and following rules, because science is very rule-driven. And then beyond that is safety in science, and so that's just safety with tools you're using, safety with toys you're playing with, and then early exposure to measuring, which is traditional and non-traditional, so that there's lengths and that things are heavy and that you can use a string to measure and you can use a ruler to measure, and just getting those concepts down.
About citizenship, economic systems, human interdependence, awareness of self, geography, people and family. So we looked at different skills that we can develop to help kids reach these goals. And then so we picked each one and then we said, okay, for them to be good citizens, they need to vote, they need to pick career choices. So we're going to teach them how to make choices, choice making. We looked at how we're going to help them to become a part of the community so that they are not outcasts. We looked at teaching them turn taking, how to collaborate with peers, how to engage in teamwork, and then social interactions, when to listen and when to talk. We were going to look at role play, so we're going to do that through drama and pretend play. And then we're also going to look at limited resources, where they are in an environment where everything is not up to what they expect. Then they have to do sharing, learn how to take turns. And then we're going to incorporate money concepts through teaching them the value of money, the forms in which money comes in, paper, coins. We were going to develop a self-awareness by deepening into their likes and dislikes, and then their strengths and weaknesses. And then we were going to teach them environmental awareness by teaching them places like what they should expect when they walk into an office, what they see at a playground, and basically what happens at those places. So that was how we're going to approach social studies.
Sure about what to put down, so we just kind of
These are great.
went through the goals and just put down the main ideas. And basically, physical development is large and small muscle, gross motor, fine motor type of activities incorporated into the child schedule as well as into the classroom. Body awareness and coordination, safety, learning to follow rules, doing activities. Physical fitness, that could be a formal class or PE, or it could just be going out on the playground and partaking in physical activities there. Team / group physical activities. Peer cooperation and learning to work together, team building, that kind of thing. Basic health practices, how to wash your hands when you go to the bathroom, and knowledge of human body part and functions. Healthy habits, and that could be eating, hygiene, anything regarding keeping the body healthy. And then conflict resolution in interpersonal relationships and physical activities. Again, that's, learning how to, play sport, be a good sportsman, and team building, problem solving, conflicts, and that kind of thing. So all of these things can be built, like I said, throughout the classroom, embedded throughout in the activities throughout the classroom. Easily enough, so.
Put down, try different methods of art. So we went to activities, but I had to go back to being general, so we just said use physical movements to represent sons. Then they can critique their own arts and the arts of others, maybe through journals or so forth. Appreciate the exploration of movement and dance. Children like to move anyway. And allow students to express their emotions through art. So there are various social, emotional expressions and so forth through art or through music. And then the last one is just to engage students in a variety of drama, music, visual arts, movement, and dance. So a lot of freestyle. Once they develop the understanding of what art, drama, music, and visual arts really are, the basis of those different areas.
Great.
That's a big idea because there's a lot of English immersion only policies. And then the other big ideas is that literacy skills in home language can often transfer to English, especially if, for Spanish speakers. There's a lot of those skills that do transfer to English. Mandarin, there's not as many, but there's still skills that transfer, and so that's a big idea, and just identifying what are those literacy skills that can transfer and use those in home language, and then you can build to transferring those to English. And then another big idea is just create a sense of self and identity. So that looks a lot like when the child comes into the classroom, just, it's this transition between home and school, but to say your language is important because you speak this language, your family speaks this language, and giving them opportunities to speak in the classroom and to share things in their home language, and then to maybe even hear their home language in the classroom does a lot for their sense of self and identity. Progression of skills kind of looks like starting off with, using greetings in their home language, photos of their family and of the community, along with sharing the stories in their home language. And then there might be lots of leaps into this next one, but beginning literacy skills, and then for those ones that do transfer, and I work with mostly Spanish-speaking children, but like phonemic awareness, for example, there's an example of corazón and cat. Like first sound, the k is the same in both languages, so if they're drawing pictures of corazón for the k sound and a cat, that's okay, it's to know that the skill there is phonemic awareness, so really helping kids, I guess, flesh that out, and then to transfer those skills eventually to English. And then there's the Mandarin symbol for k, because they do have that sound in Mandarin, but not for, they would draw like a picture for classroom, that would be one, or cough is the beginning sound. So they,
It's in there too.
yes.
And is that the symbol for
Cough.
cough? Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Cool.
I
Great.
tried to start with
Oh, really? Wow. It's brilliant. Nice job.
Positive relationships with your friends and peers in the classroom. And so this is like, it's conflict resolution too, and entering a group, positive behaviors like helping, sharing. And then this will help you with the last goal, which is you and the community, like with other contexts like school, just other contexts that you would be involved in, and it involves decision making in different contexts. So following, the rules, kind of like internalizing those rules, and making more like decisions about like abstract and moral rules. And so it's a progression because you can't really get to this target if you don't accomplish that first. And then even within each goal, it kind of each step builds on the previous one.